You're listening to a Zaboys Media Podcast.
Welcome to Make It Make Sense, the Zaboys podcast, where we take the best plans or the worst plans of fiction and even real life, put them under scrutiny and see if we can make them just a little bit better. I'm Positive C. Over there is, like always, Jim the Brainbox Thornquist, and Will Shotwell is on assignment in Jurassic Park, seeing if he can find Dennis Nedry. We'll see if he comes back next week and decides to join us after his mission away. It's a new year. It's like 2026, so we're going to try some new things, and one of the brand new things is seeing if we can kind of guide some of the best things that we have seen, some of the best villains we have seen, some of the best, what are other people who make plans, right? Some heroes make plans. Who else makes plans in fiction?
Villains, government, God knows what else.
Yeah, the government.
A lot of these things. Sometimes the government is the villain.
Yes, sometimes let's just be honest, the government's maybe all the time the villain. We'll see if we can dissect their plans, terrorists, all those things, and see if we can make them better. But we're probably going to delve a little personal at different points in times. We're probably going to get into some plans that we have made that may have not have gone as good as they could, and see if we can make them better in hindsight. That sounds, very reasonable considering both of our past.
Yeah, no, I think we've all done some stupid things and we've all made some really bad plans in the real world. But I think today we're talking about something a little different than that. I think we're talking about some fictional bad plans. Yeah,
because that's going to be the most fun. We're going to have the most fun talking about things that actually haven't had real life consequences, except maybe if they've ruined careers because they were bad enough fans within the movies that studios were like, well, we're not doing that crap again. And this actually happened with a couple of things we're talking about. Yours mainly later on. We're talking about some Batman and Robin issues with Mr. Freeze. But right now, Superman is a hot topic again, amazingly. Last year, 2025, Superman, I think it's just called Superman. I can't remember now. Is it just Superman? The one that just came out last year with the guy who no one knew. I think it's just called Superman. I think they just went with Superman.
Yeah, that guy from Firefly that nobody knows. What's his name? Nathan Fillion, so I'm thinking.
He should be in everything. He should actually be in everything. He is in everything, actually. But no, Superman was actually a top 10 grossing movie this past year, and it's amazing that with everyone talking about superhero fatigue, that a movie about the ultimate superhero that some people say it's boring was one of the highest grossing movies of the year. That's because I think it had a good Lex Luthor. It had a Lex Luthor with an actual plan that was, not trying to get into real estate. Because do you remember the 1970s Superman? Do you remember that movie?
No, I have not watched any of the 1970s Superman since I was probably 5 years old, which means my memories exist of guy flies, tight spandex, bad haircut. Bad haircut. And anyways, moving on. Christopher Reeves, that's that guy's name.
Yeah. The not Christopher Walken, definitely.
Can he walk? Sorry, bad joke.
Oh, that is awful. We're already starting bad. We're already starting. Maybe there's going to be a lot of Christopher Reeve fans that will be, calling in to whatever station that we're not on, being like, have you heard them guys talk about how bad Christopher Reeve can't walk? Well, he's dead now, so
those
sorry.
Guys made a handicap joke about a dead man. We're so angry.
They're awful people. But we're not awful people. Bryan Singer is actually an awful person. He's the one who directed the worst Superman movie. That movie is Superman Returns. Brandon Routh was Superman, and They hired this Brandon Routh because he looked and sounded like Christopher Reeve. That's pretty much the only reason he got the part. But they hired somebody. They hired a great actor at the time. You got to think about the year 2006. Let's walk back to 2006. Let's take away all the things we know about this guy now.
Brandon Routh?
No, not Brandon Routh. I don't think we know anything more than we knew.
Okay.
Actually, go look at Brandon Routh. I think he ended up being like a really good guy. So Brandon Routh, I will give you 2 thumbs up from a guy in his late 30s who has no bearing on your career. You're a good person. The person that played Lex Luthor, who had the worst plan, I think, in movie superhero cinema, his name is Kevin Spacey. He played Lex Luthor in the 2006 cinematic disaster, I would call it, to a point. Superman Returns. And he carried on the legacy of Lex Luthor played by Gene Hackman. And you said you have never seen the 70s Superman movies.
Not in my adult years where I can remember them, but...
Right. I remember Gene Hackman, though.
I do remember Gene Hackman, but I'm thinking Superman Returns. This one sounds familiar. I feel like I've seen it, but I also... Is this the one... How do I put this without making spoilers for a movie that's now 20 some odd years old?
Oh, wait, no. Okay, before you say that, let's just do this. Hey, spoiler alert for any movie that would make it make sense.
Okay, spoiler alert. There you go.
Spoiler alert. Cut at the spoiler alert. And now we can move on with our lives.
All right, yeah. So if you're at this timestamp, whatever the hell it is, anyways, skip past the next whatever. Or just keep watching. But anyways, so I think this is the one, if I remember correctly, because I fell asleep in it, if I'm remembering this, that we find out Superman has a son with Lois.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah.
Because this is a direct sequel to Superman 2. Which is important, which is very important to Lex Luthor's plan. So that's actually why I wanted to bring up the 70s Superman movies. Because Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor in those movies, the first movie has a real estate plan. I think he wants to make an earthquake, like create the San Andreas Fault earthquake or something like that. And then he's going to rule or create the landmass and that's going to be his. So that's his plan in Superman 1, I believe.
Okay.
Something in that name.
We're not talking about that one. We're talking about
No.
Would technically be a third movie in this timeline?
What would technically be Superman 3, because Superman 3 doesn't necessarily exist in this scenario of this timeline. So after Superman 2, Lex Luthor knows where the Fortress of Solitude is. That's why it's important that you know that Lex Luthor wants the real estate. That's his thing. Even though in the comics he's been president, he's been God knows what, in the movie before this past Lex Luthor, he's been at like a tech bro or this guy who wants real estate. So, all right, real estate. And then he knows where the Fortress of Solitude is in Superman 2, which brings us to his plan in Superman Returns, which is we're going to try to make this make sense, man, because I don't get it. I fell asleep in that one, so you're going to have to probably explain the plan to me very thoroughly here. All I remember was waking up and seeing a piano go flying across a room. And that was it. That's the only part of the movie I remember. So, which to me, like I said, to me, that's 30 seconds of pure gold. Give it an Oscar. That should have been like more of that movie. Like, if you want to see a good deep dive into why Superman Returns doesn't work as a movie, go to any of the people who have reviewed that movie like itself, and they will explain that movie should have been better, could have been better, wasn't better. But Lex Luthor at the end of Superman 2 is somehow put in prison. It doesn't explain how. So he's put in prison.
Makes sense. Bad guy.
And I guess the police arrest bad guy. Good for them. They do their job. But somehow he gets out of prison And in between the time span that Superman is gone from Earth, about 5 years, he finds a 90-year-old billionaire, seduces her, pleasures her, makes her, give into his will by giving him everything in her will. And he uses that money to, I think he uses that money to experiment or research crystals from the Fortress of Solitude, which he found in Superman 2. So that's all happening. And he finds out that you can make land matter just like Superman did with his Fortress of Solitude in the Arctic. You can make land matter by, I think, putting water onto the crystals. They expand like gremlins, basically, and it creates an island. So his plan is to, one, he wants the crystals to create a landmass big enough to flood the United States and cause billions and billions of people dying throughout the world. Two, he is going to rule over the landmass of Kryptonian landmass, by the way, because this is kryptonite from the Fortress of Solitude. He learns all this from Jor-El, computer Jor-El. He learns this from Marlon Brando. Let's be honest. Marlon Brando,
Superman's dad inside of the Solitude Fortress or whatever, who's all like, I'm in a crystal and I'm a head and you can talk to me. Yeah. Yeah. The spirit of Superman's father is inhabiting this Fortress of Solitude so that Superman doesn't feel too alone.
And who's sometimes sentient because in Superman 2 he looks at Lois Lane. Sometimes is not sentient because he spills all the beans to Lex Luthor twice.
Okay.
He tells Lex Luthor.
So sometimes twice. You get his answering machine. He's not at spirit home, so it's like, I recorded this for my son, but anybody who is listening, hey Kent, so here's the thing, or sorry, Clark, not Kent, Clark, it's his last name. Hey Clark, so here's the thing, man, you're from another alien planet. It got destroyed. We sent you to Earth to be its protector. The sun powers you up, and this mineral does crazy stuff. Cool, bye. That's what we're getting, basically.
Yeah, that's kind of what you got. Kevin Spacey got the Reader's Digest version. Decided that he wanted to create the world-killing landmass. And then,
sorry, I forgot to take a note. The
plan falls apart right there. That's where the plan falls apart.
New mass. Okay.
Yeah. So there is no after. What is the after? If you are going to rule over a refugee mass of alien land that you're not really too sure how to even put an infrastructure on, what are you doing? Make it make sense.
Okay, hold on. Let me make sure I got my keywords that I wrote down here correctly to paste this. So Lex Luthor somehow gets out of jail. We don't know how.
We don't know how. It's not explained.
He's shaboinking a 90-year-old woman.
Hold on. It might be explained that the 90-year-old billionaire got him out of jail. That could be the thing, but it's not really explicitly said that.
Gotcha.
This is why.
Conjugal visits. Conjugal visits, yeah.
Hey,
okay, so.
She says on deathbed, you've shown me pleasures. Yeah. I've never.
Wow. So shaboinking a 90-year-old, gets her money, spends it to buy kryptonite crystals that activate in water, kind of like those dinosaur tablets from the grocery store, plans to make a landmass that floods the U.S. so that then the people who have to evacuate whatever coast that he floods then have to come to his land and buy land. Yes. But he's their sovereign ruler. That's the plan?
He's your landlord, yes. He's the ultimate landlord.
Wow. That's a slumlord if you ask me, but so make it make sense.
Make it make sense. Because here's one of the things. It's the first flaw in this whole plan to me is the fact that it's too dependent on the very first step, old lady sex. You are way too dependent on because nothing can happen after that happens if Lex Luthor doesn't bang the old lady, and not only do that, but do it so well that on her deathbed, one of her dying words is saying how good it was.
So in this timeline, Lex Luthor isn't rich. He has no money, and so this is how he gets his money
anymore. Yeah, because he spent all his money on probably 2 underground layers. I think at this point in time, he's had scheme after scheme after scheme, and I think probably restitution's a real thing in real life. So probably all the court costs and all that stuff. He's probably pretty depleted when it comes to the money thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to find some way, and the research crystals, I think that costs a lot of money.
This is true. So you're saying that the plan doesn't work unless step 1, boinking the old lady goes correctly.
It has to go so correctly, she leaves you the money in her fucking will.
I could say that you could probably bypass that without boinking her, as long as you showed her enough tender love and care outside of insertion that she was like, oh, you took care of me when no one else would. I'm leaving you my estate, and then you murder her. But
I don't even think you have to murder her. I can't even.
You just let her die. Yeah, just let her die.
Yeah, I think she does like
if she's dying
thing.
Yeah. Okay, so then to make the plan make sense, you now then have to. Well, like you said, at some point, Lex Luthor's known about the Fortress of Solitude. So then he goes there, and I guess that's where he gets these crystals.
Yes, he saw 3 people murdered in the Fortress of Solitude. He saw 3 aliens murdered in the Fortress of Solitude. Okay. He knows Superman. He knows a whole bunch. And so, but when he gets to the Fortress of Solitude, the only thing he asks about are the crystals. He possibly could have universal knowledge of so many different things to ask, because remember, Jor-El used the crystals to implement all of his knowledge that he has about the cosmos and Krypton and all this stuff, right? So that his son Kal-El could grow up to be as a good a person, I guess, as he was in that timeline of it. Be Marlon Brando, but she's trying. So here's the thing, like, why? And this is where I think maybe we could make it better.
Okay. Yeah, because
it's a struggle to get past the banging the old lady.
It's a dumb plan altogether. Like, you're going to create waterfront island property on a nasty crystal mass, and then somehow have people come and build civilization again on that. Like, how do you mine it? How do you structure it? How do you attach anything to it? You don't know. This is a crystal.
There's no infrastructure to the Fortress of Solitude. When you look, there's like levels.
You just collapsed half of the U.S.'s economy so that you could now be its savior, but you just destroyed a lot of infrastructure, and you're the guy that people are going to know. Like, oh, okay, so you can't grow that. Like,
it's not even half the U.S. economy. He wants to flood the entire United States. Like, not just flood the coastline. He wants to build a mass enough to flood the United States. All of it. So that probably will get Canada because of the Great Lakes. So a lot of Canada. Think about if you flood the Great Lakes. You're not just getting, and then all the Arctic stuff that's going to happen. You're going to create, we're going to get to this in your thing, another ice age. Because before ice ages comes great floods. And the Great Flood is going to happen because of Lex Luthor and his thing. So this is I think with Lex, if we're going to make it make sense, we have to assume that he just likes gilfs, and that's just something that's going to happen. He is going to do that. He's fine with it. He's okay with it. That's just his bag. When he gets to the Fortress of Solitude, Thorny, what if he, instead of just asking about crystals, what if he asked about anything else, other things? How can I create interstellar travel? How can I, create a pod that can sustain life, throughout the cosmos. Like who's Superman? Ask those questions. He gets those answers, negotiates a blackmail with Superman. Because now I know who you are, bro. Yeah. I know you're Clark. I know you're Cal. Whatever. I know your secrets, and I know kryptonite hurts you. I have kryptonite. I have your secrets. I have all of that. You be my bodyguard, and then I create Lex Corp. Now I'm the tech bro of all tech bros.
Right. It's a better plan. Because at like that point, you become like the most humanitarian startup foundation. You're becoming Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, right? In that situation, it's like, I have the technology to do these great things.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do this to change the world by also becoming the richest man in the world because of it.
Right.
And like you said, it's not necessarily a villain arc then. The only villainous thing you did was bang a 90-year-old and then steal some crystals from Superman.
Yeah.
And he's not going to come after you because that gives away his identity too. If he's like, Lex, you stole my crystals and now you're changing the world with them, you son of a monkey mother asshole. Sorry, I was trying not to drop swear words and I was like, this doesn't work unless I drop swear words.
I don't think Superman swears anyway.
He doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't. Yeah. But for the viewership, I was trying to keep us more PG-13 here. It didn't work.
Yeah, it didn't work at all. We just keep it under the first minute. I think we're good. Here's the other thing that I think when we can see if this kind of rounds out the plans. He has kryptonite, right?
Mm-hmm.
If he has kryptonite, why does he not sell kryptonite to the world's governments and let them know that, hey, this is what can take out a being like Superman? Right?
Yeah.
I can sell this to you. You can, the whole movie reverse engineer, which is like a thing that I'm not sure if it actually does happen in real life. Hey, I have this technology. Let me take it apart and then make other technology out of it. Maybe it happens a lot. I don't know. I think that's a movie thing where you can like take an alien thing and make it your own, like, Independence Day, whatever, Resurgence, rehash. So yeah, give it to them, give it to these world governments, sell it off, be like, here, make your kryptonite bombs, make your kryptonite missiles, make your kryptonite handguns and nets, just in case Superman goes rogue. And then you become even bigger of a world savior because now you've created this weird false fear of what Superman can be, which is maybe true if he's Red Sun or whatever. And you made a bunch of money now. You made buku dollars.
Okay, so I don't think we can make Lex's actual plan make sense. I think we can come up with a better plan.
Yes,
that would have been in the long run safer and not killed. I don't know, like billions of people and maybe the idea is you just get some kryptonite and then, like you said, reverse engineer it, find a way to regrow it, start marketing it, or team up with Superman in the sense of like, I'm going to better humanity if you keep protecting it kind of situation.
Yeah, I think you can kind of work with that too. Yeah.
But we're not here to make the plan better. We're here to make it make sense.
I see. So I think we're going to run into this sometimes. I think we're going to run into plans, and this is kind of where I think we might end up with this next one too, where the plan itself has such flaws in it when put under the tiniest bit of scrutiny that you can't make it make sense. You have to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is where I think that we have a special little dice, you know what I mean? That all people who have plans of grandeur kind of go. So let's say my plan of, getting other knowledge from Jor-El.
Okay.
Let's go with the blackmail of Superman.
Okay.
All right. And then let's go.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. The idea of taking Superman's identity and saying, hey, I know who you are. You protect me. while, I'm maybe even doing some other underhanded things. You know what I mean? I'm still Lex Luthor. I'm not doing everything above board, but hey, while I'm dealing with governments trying to sell kryptonite, you don't know I'm selling kryptonite, but I'm selling something, and that kind of thing. And then you sell kryptonite to the world's governments. That's the plan that I think we need to let the dice decide whether or not this plan would work, or if we just need to go with like the original fucking plan.
So you want me to roll a D20?
Yeah.
And depending on what it lands on, that's going to tell us if we think that plan would work or not.
Yes. And so let's go,
something better to roll this in.
The 1 to 5 doesn't work at all. None of that plan works. You need to just go ahead with the original plan that he has.
Yeah. The split's usually 10. Yeah. If you're going 10. For just a base level thing. Now, if something seems complex, it kind of goes up to 15 usually.
I think we're good.
I'll tell you what. Here's what I'm going to do. Give me a second.
Ooh.
Make this work.
Hey, we get to see more of the Thornquist Studios. Yeah.
Well, we don't want to see that part. All right, let's see here. That's a 2. I don't know if you can see it.
That is a 2.
So the blackmail plan doesn't work.
No, and I think I know the flaw. And I think I know why the Lords gave us a 2 of the dice. Superman is Superman. And I think that is the crux, and we'll move on to the other being that lives in the wonderful world of the DC universe here that you've decided to bring us into and ask if the plans in their movie make sense. But Superman is Superman, and to think that you're going to get away with almost anything with Superman is flawed in itself. That is the flaw in the plan. You thought you were going to get over on guy who in this movie universe can spin the fucking world backwards and
reverse time, or throw it off its axis and really mess stuff up.
Or throw the S off his chest and slightly deter somebody.
This is true. Yeah, no, I agree with you. This is Superman. The moment you try to blackmail Superman, he's not going to come to it. All right, because he's the golden boy of DC Comics. The idea is that no matter what you do to Superman, he's always going to do the most outright just thing, unless he's being influenced in some way by another colored kryptonite or a weird timeline thing or something like that, someone murdering his parents in a dark alleyway, something like that, right? But anyways, it's one of those things that sorry, I was interweaving DC origin stories along with other timelines there just to make a joke, but
I like it.
Superman's parents get murdered in a dark alley. He becomes Batman. Weird.
Man.
But
Batman failed immediately.
Yeah, I think the moment that you have Lex Luthor come in and try to blackmail Superman just stops it. Because Lex Luthor is still a person. Even if he's holding a piece of kryptonite, he's still a person.
Fucking man. He is still a bald man, and sometimes he's Jesse Eisenberg, or is it his kid? We will never know, but we will know a lot more about the DC universe because we're about to break down another juggernaut in the DC universe to steal from Marvel and talk about a little Batman, Robin, and Victor Fries. Thorny, this one's yours.
All right, so when you pitched this, the idea was that we would both bring a movie with a bad villain plan for this episode, for this experience. And when you threw out Superman, my first thought, of course, is what's the counterbalance to Superman? Batman.
Yeah.
So we are going to talk about, I want to make sure I have this year right for production, the 1997 Batman film, Batman and Robin.
Nearly 10 years apart from what we're doing from the Superman Returns, which we did a little bit earlier. And I think that's a good balance of like what comic book movies were And then what people
they
said,
became.
no, we're not doing this crap either.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't what we want either.
So we're at the weird opposite ends of the spectrum of like where superhero movies should never have gone, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah.
So I'm sure you've seen Batman and Robin. I think at that age we were all seeing Batman and Robin.
Hey, Tony, I have to stop you because we have to. I got a cat issue. We got to.
Next time on Make It Make Sense.
The movie that almost ruined and completely like killed comic book movies in general.
Batman and Robin. Thank you for listening to Make It Make Sense, a Zaboys podcast. If you like what you're hearing, follow along with us and, add us to your little list or whatever on Spotify or wherever you're listening. If you'd like to hear some of our previous stuff, you can always check us out on YouTube at Zaboys Media Network for some of our past work, or by searching on Spotify for The Locals Connection with a Z. That's The Locals Connection. Thank you again for listening. Monowea and stay gold, Pony Boy.